Well, hello and good morning to all my fourth grade friends at the Hilltop Primary. I'm Mr. Brett. Now, hopefully on Tuesday and or Wednesday, you went out into your yard or neighborhood, identified a couple of trees, because today is the day we're going to find out how old one of those trees are. Now, I have sent along this magical worksheet right here. How old is this tree? Now, you'll look through it, you'll see it, tree species, tree height. Today, we're not going to worry a whole lot about height, but I'm going to walk you through this step by step as to how to use this and to figure out how old the tree in your yard is. All right, step one, right where it says tree species, write down the type of your tree. The tree I'm going to use right back here, sugar maple. You know all about sugar maples. We've learned a lot about syrup over the years. Maybe that's the kind of tree that you are going to deal with or work with in your yard today. Now, next up it says tree height. We're not going to mess or worry about tree height for today, so you can just take that and put an X right there. That is fine. Now, next up, it says circumference. And you're like, whoa, 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 wait. Circumference, big fancy science, sorry, math word. The alarm. Big science word alert! Circumference is the distance around something circular. Perimeter, you've done perimeter with shapes, boxes, rectangulars, by the way, rectangles, squares. Circumference is around. Now, in order to measure the circumference, you're going to need one of these, a tape measure. Now, if you don't have a tape measure, there are a couple other solutions. You can cut a piece of string that is 12 inches long. Use a ruler in your house, cut it 12 inches long, mark the little dashes on there so you can tell how, far, and then, string by string, go around and measure the distance around your tree. Now, if it's a bigger tree and you're like, oh, Mr. Brett, I really don't want to have to move that string multiple times and add it up. Okay, so just find one string and cut it off that goes around the whole tree and then lay it down and use a tape measure, like a metal tape measure you pull out. Your parents might have one around the house. I've got a picture here too that you're looking at to figure out exactly how far around the tree is. So let's go ahead and measure the circumference of this tree. All right, so I'm going to get this going around here, right around about chest height. I want to measure this, and this is about 24 inches around. So on the circumference part, I'm going to write 24 inches. Now, calculations. Ooh, big science. Big science word alert! That's right, that's the math part of this. Calculations, right here, the space says circumference. I'm going to write my 24 in. All right, 24 divided by 3. Now, some of you are going to get some numbers that are like, wait, this isn't really divisible by 3. If you want to round up or round down to make it a nice math partner of 3, that's okay with me. 24 divided by 3 is relatively straightforward. Of course, you're already going, well, Mr. Brett, that is 8. Okay, so now, 8 inches. That is now the diameter. You're like, whoa. Big science word alert! The diameter is the distance across. Now, sure, we could have cut this down and measured straight across, but instead, now that we've done the circumference, I know the diameter. It is 8 inches if you were drawing a line straight through the middle of this tree to the other side. All right, so I take that 8 inches. I move it down to this number right here, times the growth factor. Ooh, now we roll over into this chart. I look to see, I'm like, wait a minute. Ooh, sugar maple has a growth factor of 5.5. The higher the number, the slower the tree grows. So I write that right here in the growth factor part. 5, you're like, wait, 5.5, that's a decimal, Mr. Brett. It sure is. 0.5 is a half, so we'll deal with this separately. 8 times 5 is, I know you're on top of this, 8 times 5, 40. What is half of 8? If you divided 8 by 2, half of 8 is, that's right, 4. So we got to do the 40 plus the 4, and that tells me this tree is 44 years old. Guess what? It's not old enough, it's not big enough for us to tap it for maple syrup. 10-inch diameter is what we're going to need for that. That in this forest here takes about 55 to 60 years in order for that to be the case. Have fun. Do a couple different trees. See how old the trees in your yard are. Now, you may have a tree that your parents planted, so they know how old that tree is. Sweet. Do the math. Now, this is an estimate. See how close the estimate is. I hope you have fun with this, and until I see you all next time, get outside.